So Talk in the Town is a Nagrik initiative to create a platform for voices from smaller and mid-sized cities. The Kolkata is not a small city, but it has been a very important part of India's urban history. And one of the things for which we know Kolkata for a very long time as for a sustainable mode of transport is its trams. And with Talk in the Town, what we try to
Yes.
do is identify movements, initiatives which are started by citizen groups, non-governmental organizations, which are trying to bring policy closer to people, which are being led by common people around us. And it was in this regard when we heard about the Calcutta Trams Association and the work that you're doing, we thought it would be an honor to have you on a podcast. So to introduce Mr. Bhattacharya, he is the president of the Calcutta Tram Users Association, which is a non-profit organization dedicated to the preservation and modernization of Calcutta's tramways. He is among the strongest pro-tram voices in Kolkata, which is also the only city in India which currently has this sustainable mode of transport, but it is facing an existential threat. He's a retired scientist, and he's been at the forefront of advocating for the tram system, emphasizing the enormous environmental benefit it has and the potential it has to alleviate traffic congestion. Since the inception of the Users Association in December 2016, he has led multiple initiatives to raise awareness and ask for the tram's revival. He's also a member of a court-appointed committee that has been tasked to find ways to revive and modernize and restore this mode of transport. His efforts are multiple, and through his association, they are involved in postering, distribution of leaflets. They do street corner meetings, they submit articles in print media, participate in television shows. So there is a huge amount of effort that is going on to raise awareness about the benefits of trams. He has a personal connection to trams since his childhood, and his leadership has been pivotal in building public support for the tramways. And he envisions trams as a sustainable and efficient urban transport solution, which is better than even metro rails in some respects. It has about 4,000 members worldwide, the association, and it continues to campaign for the trams network's future, hoping that it stays a vibrant and cherished part of Kolkata's history and a viable mode of transport for its residents. So with this introduction, I welcome you again, sir. And we can now begin the conversation. If you could talk a little bit about yourself, your relationship with the city first.
I was born in this city and I grew up throughout my life, except that I spent about 4 to 5 years abroad.
Okay.
So I know everything about the history, the present, and the possibility of the future disasters which we may encounter in our city. My background is in chemistry, biochemistry, and I had my profession in scientific research and education. But I have a passion from my childhood, um, mostly on the rail-based systems like railways, tramways, or anything which moves on the tracks. I have special attraction. At the same time, we depended exclusively on public transport system from our childhood, and we had no problem. Our mobility was not restricted anywhere in terms of safety or affordability or comfort or anything. Trams were there and double-decker buses like Mumbai or other cities. We had plenty of double-decker buses. So we were very happy. So in 1980s, the double-decker buses were withdrawn from the city. So it was a jerk on myself. And in 1990s, it was proposed that Calcutta Tramways Company will run buses in parallel to running trams to reduce their requirement for subsidy.
Okay.
The irony is that at that time, Calcutta State Transport Corporation, which was flying exclusively buses, their requirement of subsidy per passenger, per kilometer, in every parameter, these were higher than the tramways. So by no way you can reduce the subsidy of the tramways by introducing bus services in parallel. And what we saw that in the name of introducing buses, many of the running tram cars were scrap iron dealers. They were destroyed. Many existing tram sheds were converted to the bus sheds overnight, almost overnight, and hundreds of buses were introduced. Then I thought that there must be something wrong because it was not the original commitment. What was proposed and what was doing, there was much difference. Then I wrote to different global agencies who are working on mass transport systems. They sent me huge volume of documents,
Okay.
post, many books, many magazines, many documents. And those documents were my weapons to fight against the dismantling of the tramways. I am talking about in 1990s, etc., when in West Bengal there was a strong left front government and
Mm.
virtually there was no opposition. What surprised us that in parallel introducing the buses, the authorities said that the tram depots has excess land and those lands will be sold to the real estate businessmen. So you understand that when the lands which are situated in the prime location of the city, these are sold out and definitely at a reduced rate from the market rate, then there must be some kickback policy and dishonesty. So many people protested, including the workers, tramways workers union, and many environmental agencies. But basically, we were losing the fight.
Mm.
The question was when the British company people they purchased the excess land, there was a definite policy for that, like the railways. That the excess land which the railways had, now they are using those spaces for relaying the third track or fourth track or fifth track, etc. So the excess land which was apparently in excess were earmarked for introducing more trams in the future so that when the city grows, there should not be any dearth of space for creating room for additional tramways in the city. But the state government didn't listen to anything and they were demolishing the sheds and they made the blueprints for this corruption. This is a huge corruption. After that, around 2011 or so, the left front government was removed by the currently ruling party, the Trinamool Congress. And the Trinamool Congress, they were following exactly the same party. They were truncated the tram routes, they were closing the tram routes, many trams were destroyed, and there was a devastation in the system. In parallel, the number of cars which are using in the city, mostly the private cars, the number has enormously increased. There is an exponential rise that created enormous traffic congestion, road accidents, air and noise pollutions, etc. And our life is miserable in the city. Earlier, we had about 450 or so tram cars, of which around 400 tram cars, were plying in the city. Now the number has reduced to maybe 11, 12, or 15 tram cars are plying in the whole city, and only 3 routes are in operation. Earlier, we had nearly 40 routes. And these 3 routes are once again truncated, that the full length of the routes are not operational. And the tram tracks has been reduced routes for many pretexts. For example, somewhere they say that the bridge construction is weak, the bridge is not safe for running the tram cars. But we see that at night, huge trucks carrying sand or stones, they are plying on the same bridges without any speed restriction or anything. Then the traffic police, which is a part of the state government, and the Calcutta Municipal Corporation, they are all different facets of the state government. They are also in part for destruction of the tramways in the sense the traffic police, they are very arrogant and they do not permit running of trams in the congested or narrower streets of Calcutta. The reason is the trams are causing congestion and they are reducing the vehicular traffic. But when we are talking about statistics on the basis of numbers of cars, the reduction of the speed, mobility of the people, mostly in terms of figures, facts and figures, then the police department, they remain silent or they play evasive roles. They never respond to our queries, even they don't meet with us for any discussion or any argument based on scientific facts and figures.
So,
At
sir,
present, there is a um, there is a court case. Some an advocate has filed a case against the transport department for regarding demolition of the tramways. And the court says that they have constituted a committee, and I am a member of that committee. Our job is to restructure, revive, and modernize the tramways. And we had some three, four, five meetings with the authorities, and it is about maybe 6 months or 8 months. The authorities, they have not done anything, and there is a ban from the court that no tram cars can be dismantled or no tram track. Uh, no tram car can be dismantled and no tram track can be bituminized.
okay.
The authority says that there are frequent skidding of the two-wheelers and bicycles on the mostly the two-wheelers on the tram track, leading to fatal accidents, and people are dying. And police has a strong objection. I filed an RTI in this respect, and police says in the last 10 years, only one person has died on the tram track because of skidding of the two-wheelers. So you see, whatever claims are done by the Calcutta Traffic Police, they are all baseless, fabricated, and they have specific purpose, which is echoing the dishonesty of the transport department. There are many events that I can cite you that the authority is discouraging passengers to board the trams. For example, in the last 10 years, in the South Calcutta and Central Calcutta, the reserve tracks which we had in the boulevard in the middle of the road, wider roads, this all has been made at grade, meaning tram tracks and the private cars, buses, they can share the same space.
Hello.
While doing so, the passengers, we find that empty trams are running in the middle of the roads, and the women and the children or aged people who are standing on the pavement simply they cannot reach the tram as the mad traffic is flowing on, and there is no scope for any passenger for boarding the cars. Equally, when you deboard the car, the tram, and the tram moves, you are in the middle of running cars, and at every moment there is a chance for run over. So it has become now very unsafe for boarding and deboarding of the cars, and people are compelled to use alternate modes of transports like auto rickshaws or buses or even taxis, etc.
So,
So
sir,
there is an overall uh, attempt by the transport department to defame the tramways and situation prevailing in our city.
so you mentioned the evolution in terms of like, so just to maybe uh, help us visualize the way trams were in its heydays, and you said that there were about 400, 450 trams, and I was also looking that around the time when they were electrified,
Yes,
the early 20th century, there were about 400, 500 trams, and there were multiple routes, and now there are about three routes. So what about the
yes,
ridership? At the peak, what was the ridership,
yes.
and what is the ridership now? Like, how much has the ridership come down to now?
So ridership is now almost negligible.
Negligible.
Very few people can use the tramways. There is no timetable, no schedule, nothing. So
Okay.
how long can you wait in the middle of the road for a tram? So
Okay.
people are forced to use other modes of public transports.
Okay.
Ridership is now very low.
Because I think
Earlier, it is in the many years ago, when there was no other public transport in the city, tramways it catered almost 100%,
okay.
almost
Almost 100%.
before the introduction of buses.
Okay.
Then gradually, in say 1980 or so, the tramways carried 40% of the commuters and state transport buses carried 60%.
Okay.
At present, tramway passengers is negligible. It is much below.
Thanks so much for giving us a very vivid picture of how has been a systematic elimination of sorts
Yeah.
of this important mode of transport. And we've been I think I've been reading about it also. And while in multiple European countries, there have been attempts to revive, restore, and even make it as a mainstream mode of transport, this
Hmm.
has the opposite direction for Kolkata. So, in
Yes.
that regard, your association has been a very pertinent and very strong voice, the Calcutta Tram User Association. And I've also seen the Instagram page and some of the activities that you've done in the past in terms of making people aware about this important mode of transport. So maybe if you can briefly talk about what does the CTUA do and what are some of the activities that it
Okay.
has been trying to do to make people aware.
Okay. Okay. Uh, During in registration, we are referred as the cultural organization that vouches for the tramways. So in our activities, we held demonstrations at different places in the city. We arranged for street corner meetings, which are in that sense very efficient in communicating to the people. We postering, then distribution of leaflets are done. We talk with the different media, press media people at press conference club, or we arrange workshops and deliver different arguments. We invite even the ministers or the police officers. They never attend our invitations. They
Okay.
escape. Apart from that, our younger people, generation people, they are who are very proficient in computational works.
Mhm.
Our website is very informative, and we have many international friends all across the globe, starting from South America, North America, European countries, Australia, everywhere we have link, Russia, and from many sectors they send us different kinds of documents and suggestions for improvement. And many people they physically visit Calcutta for the tramways. We do not know exactly that there are many railways and tramways enthusiastic people who are distributed all over. So when the 150th anniversary of Calcutta Tramways, the celebration was done last year, there was a tramway parade. There were about 120 foreigners who attended this ceremony, and they were exclusively visiting the city for the tramways.
Wow.
And since then, every month we get two, three, four, five people who are visiting here. Uh, they contact us. We provide most of the information, and our volunteers they guide them. They visit our headquarters. They put their signatures, etc. In a sense that we are in the same boat, and whatever we are doing, they support us in terms of immorality. They cannot speak against the government because this is against the diplomatic rules and regulations. But whatever they say, this is enough that to believe that the state government, which is dismantling the tramways, is very harmful, detrimental to the society and to the people. This is for sure. And
This is very
in India also, we have a good network and people are aware of us.
I think this is very heartening to know that there are so many tram enthusiasts. And I was reading about people coming from Australia and from Europe, and there are tramways which have also modernized in other countries using, I think, newer kind of technology which uses regenerative braking and things like that, which allows better energy efficiency. Uh, but I think one of the main it might be, and I was reading a lot of comments that people have when there are public discussions on the relevance of tramways, where there are people who talk about the pros of it and others who say that they cause traffic jams. The same thing that I think institutionally also has been kind of said that they cause traffic jams. And I was reading that there is the average speed, even on places where there are no trams, is 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. So maybe there is no evidence, as you said, that the trams cause such kind of a congestion. But what I wanted to ask you was that what are the kind of people who are the kind of citizens within Calcutta, within the area where you are operating, who are aligning and who are seeing the benefits, and who are these people who are part of CTUA, including yourself and the younger generation? What brings them together? What is the way in which they are able to see what others are not able to see?
Everywhere, the automobile lobbies, they are very powerful.
Yes.
So when a very efficient public transport system is lost, the equal gain is achieved by the automobile lobbies. This is a universal fact, and it happens everywhere. So it is the at the same time, the politicians, they also measure the feelings of the public,
Mm.
because they depend on the votes and the emotions and the likings, dislikings of the public. So the more we have the public conscience about the tramways, then we can pressurize the tramway lobbies
Mm.
for the benefits of the society. The arguments that tramways are slow, they are causing road congestions, these are all stupid arguments. And the tramways are installed, which are newly installed. One of the reasons is that tramways decongest the routes, because the people, when traveling in a tram or any mass transport, they occupy least amount of road space. And compared to the car owners, not only the car itself, it needs head clearance and tail clearance. And parking problem is a major issue. Have you ever seen any double-decker bus or tram parked anywhere in the road? Never. So there are many advantages, and a major advantage for the city is that our city is that we have all the infrastructure ready here. The tram depots, the cars, the track, traction, everything is ready. What we do not have is the political interest or political willingness to run the tram cars. The reason why tram cars are so popular worldwide is that it does not require huge investment like the metro. And metro railways, it cannot penetrate into the city at every point. And it is not always very user friendly, because you have to reach the platform which is either underground or it is above the ground, where it is not the escalators or elevators, these are not always available. So people find it, in many times they find it difficult to reach the platform. And a tramway is a network, and the metro railway is a corridor.
Mm.
So corridors are east west or south north, etc. But when the tramway network is there, one can reach at any point of the city, starting from the railway station or the ferry cart or esplanade, the central business district. They can go anywhere in the city. So these two are different, and while installing a tramway, you need only a moderate investment.
Mm.
In Calcutta, even that investment is not required. We have all the properties. Only we need honesty and a good management for running this property, and people will definitely get the benefits of it. Now, when we publish, or there are some articles are there in the social media, about 10 years back, 50% people were against the tramways and 50% were in our favor. Nowadays, it is almost 95 to 98% of the people who are supporting us, and only 2-3% people they are opposing the tramways. So definitely there is a much awareness among the people regarding the benefits of the tramways, because people are suffering. We have chest congestions and fever, everything arising from air pollution. We cannot sleep at night because of noise pollution. Cars are honking all the time. While delivering this talk, I have closed everything in my house, because there is so much noise pollution that if I open the windows, we cannot talk.
I can still hear
So in
some.
the hot and humid weather, this is very uncomfortable. But we have no other way. We have very tough life in the city because of the automobile nuisance.
So, sir, maybe if you could, you said that there is a huge amount of support now. in the city for the tramways. And I see that like the Instagram page and the website, they are very well documented, very well researched. So could you tell us who are the kind of people who are now part of CTUA? Are they general citizens? Are they students? Are they people like you who have been in professional lives before and now? So if you could tell us a little bit
The
about what does the association look like? Who are the people behind?
composition. I think you are asking about the composition of the CTUA, what kind of membership we have, etc.
Volunteers, etc. Also.
This is hmm, hmm, hmm. Uh, it is very wide that we have members from the starting from the school children.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Students who are from 11, 12 class, they are our members. Then college goers are there, office people, and varieties of people in the different stakes of life in our society, like school teachers or businessmen. Everywhere we have. Probably, I am the most senior most people
In the association. Hello.
60, so ranging from 18 to 67. This is the age range of the people. Women are there. Um, Many volunteers are there. Our volunteers are spread across India.
Okay. Right.
In South Indian people from Bombay and many other cities, we have members. They contribute. They they send money to us. And in the we have different categories. There is a core committee people, maybe 11 or 12 core committee people who take the decision for street corner meetings or meetings with the authorities, etc.
Okay.
Then there is a volunteers group. Then there is a membership group, etc. And we have an international relations section also, where we communicate with the people from everywhere in the world.
So, I think you mentioned about the so you definitely have a much wider connect with the citizens, and there is a constant interface. There are meetings and events, and there is a lot of word of mouth also. And I think that's what has led to this wider support for trams through the association also. But you referred to the difficulty in getting to the departments, to the various government departments that are responsible for managing trams and managing the whole infrastructure that is around the trams. Could you
Okay.
talk a little bit about the other side? So
Hmm.
one side is the users and one side are the providers or the people who are supposed to run. So who are the people who are supposed to run the tramways, and what is your either the relationship right now, which is where you're trying to get to them, and what kind of interface you are able to have, even if it is not a lot, what is the limited interface that you have, and who are these organizations?
Usually, the people in power in the office, like the IAS or IPS officers or the senior most people, they simply ignore us. They give no value to us. They ignore. Definitely, this is their policy. And in the running of the tramways, there are three phases. Three phases.
Okay.
If this is the origin is the government of West Bengal, the three phases first is the transport department, who actually owns the property of the tramways and they operate the trams. Then second is Calcutta Traffic Police, who has since the trams are operating on the street, they have some voice. And third is the Calcutta Municipal Corporation, who maintains the roads.
Okay.
Now, when you talk with the transport department people, and they find it is difficult to argue with us, and they have insufficient reasons in against the tramways, then they shift the blame to the Calcutta Traffic Police.
Okay.
Because Calcutta Traffic Police, they believe that they are the supreme authority like the gods and goddesses. They can do whatever they want. They close down the tram tracks. They, for no reason, they make the tramways one-way traffic. This is not applicable for the trams. Trams are two-way always. So there are many hindrances. In the Calcutta Municipal Corporation, who maintains the roads, they never created any safe passenger shelters for boarding, deboarding of the tram cars, or they do not repair the unhealthy bridges which are so-called weak and they cannot bear the load of the tramways. So this is a kind of three-way connection that when one is feeling unsafe or they cannot put enough argument, they blame the second one. When you go to the second people, they blame the first and the third. So you are in the vicious circle. You can never get any clear answer. This is exactly the same situation when the court ordered for rejuvenation of the tramways. Then the authority says that we are helpless because Calcutta Traffic Police is interfering. Calcutta Traffic Police, they are arrogant, they are just simply uncivilized people. They do not respond, respect others. And they said that in our last meeting, an IAS officer from Transport Department told that we, the CTUA people, or who are in favoring the tramways, are a minority of the society.
Wow.
We should listen to the politicians because they have been elected by the majority of the population. So we are not bound to respect your arguments, etc. And we will do according to the political whims which the ministers or other corrupt people they dictate. If this is the situation, and even they do not abide by the instruction rulings of the High Court, then there is very little chance for getting any justice for the tramways. We
But
always find that tramways are treated as the stepmotherly attitude. That they always have enough reasons for all are fabricated and false reasons to defend the tramway that they are creating this and this nuisances, which are all are trash and these are all false statements.
but are there any positive windows within these three departments or within this ecosystem of the government authorities where you feel that there is somebody who
So
gives some
they are
consideration,
uh,
like who consider who see your point of view? Are there people in these three organizations or people who have a possibility or have the potential of being pro-tram voices while being on the decision maker side? Are there any people or organizations, maybe the tram drivers, the Association of Tram Drivers?
before before the interference of the court recently, virtually we had no scope to reconsider any decision of the transport department.
Okay.
They never listened to us. They simply ignored the public views, public policies, etc. The views of the citizens.
Hmm.
It is only the court who interfered recently. As a result, the no tram cars has been dismantled and tram tracks has not been asphalted, covered by the asphalt. But it is clear that the authorities they are killing the time. Now they are maintaining a status quo. But we feel that as the situation develops and more people are considering trams as a much better mode of transport, in many of our workshops and seminars, many eminent people they have been elaborately published in different newspapers, televisions, etc.
Okay.
So the government it is my personal opinion that it will not be so easy to completely wipe out the tramways. Now they are maintaining a status quo, and depending on the future situation, either they will maintain the current status of the tramways or they will improve one by one, or it is possible that the current Trinamool Congress it may be defeated in the near future and something else may happen politically. And since this is a government organization, unless there is a political will, how we can do that? At present, there is no opposition in West Bengal. The TMC Trinamool Congress is they have been majority in the power. So politically, and we have political supports also. All the political parties who are in opposition, they are supporting us, the
Okay.
tramways,
Okay.
including the CPM, who once upon a time they initiated the destruction of the tramways. They,
Hmm.
at present, they're favoring us.
Okay. Has
But
has
their interference or influence in the government is very little.
has anyone ever at the local level or at the assembly level made trams an election agenda? Has anyone so far promised that they will restore the trams in the political
No,
parties?
no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, uh, before the Lok Sabha or Assembly election, yes, we wrote to different, almost all political parties who are fighting in the elections. Nobody responded. Nobody.
So I
So
wanted to.
this is not an election agenda. Even the environment or air pollution, noise pollutions, no political party is interested in it.
I think that's a trend that we see everywhere. So I wanted to ask you about this
Yes,
the court case, which eventually made the committee to oversee and submit a report, I think, about how to figure it out, that how can this mode of transport be preserved and restored. So what was the court case about? What
yes.
was the merit that the court saw that it appointed a committee and stopped some of these things? So if you can briefly talk about what the case was and why did the court find the merit in saying that, okay, we need a committee to first stop what is happening ad hoc and then only decide how to move forward after the report.
Uh, the court case, it offered an interesting uh, view, interesting picture.
Mhm.
An advocate, a female advocate, she filed a initially she asked RTI many questions, maybe 100 or such questions. Based on that, she filed an court case. This is public interest litigation case, PIL, public interest litigation. And while arguing in favor of the tramways, and when the Chief Justice he passed the order, we were very surprised that against our expectation, we didn't expect that the Chief Justice will give the order in such a favor of the tramways. He spoke many words which we didn't mention. And interestingly, the Chief Justice at present in Calcutta, he is from Tamil Nadu. He's from Madras, somewhere from Tamil Nadu. So he's not a Calcuttan. So he doesn't know exactly about the tramways, but he's an educated and he must be a sensible person. He spoke that the people of Calcutta, they have a very uh, intimate relation of the tramways. Normally, we give the scientific arguments that in terms of energy efficiency, road space, etc. Apart from that, there is a huge emotion or sensitivity of the tramways to the people of the Calcutta that you cannot quantify. Like your love or anger, your unhappiness, you cannot quantify, but they are all there. So the Chief Justice said that you cannot simply remove it. You have to review it and then you formulate the policy how we can revive the tramways, increase the frequency, or restart the closed routes one by one. Because the process of decline, it was within the say last 30 years or so. So we do not expect that immediately it will be regained to its original condition, but one by one it can be done. So he constituted the committee. Unfortunately, the convener of the committee is the managing director or the people from the tramways itself. So when the committee, there is a meeting of the committee, and suppose the people from the tramways and transport departments are there, and we are some 4 5 people, we are in favor of the tramways.
Hmm.
When the minutes of the meeting is written and the report is submitted to the High Court, it is done by an IAS officer of the transport department.
Okay.
So we apprehend that our views are never properly explained or reflected in the meeting.
Has the report already been submitted or it is still being?
Even we do not know.
Okay.
They send us a draft. That draft is complete. In many cases, draft is incomplete or there is factual error. We respond that this should be included, it should be modified, but we do not know whether these are actually been modified, our views are properly reflected or not. So there is every possibility that the High Court is being misguided by this committee that and our views are not properly reflected. we do not know how we can convey this message to the Chief Justice, because this is a legal process and we cannot directly approach or meet the Chief Justice and present our views.
But in such a case, when the court has appointed a committee, does the court oversee the proceedings? Like, does it require to monitor that whether all the views, all the meetings are being attended by all the members? And once the report is
I
submitted,
do not think there is any such possibility. The convener or the chairman, they are authorized to submit the report to the court. Now, whether the report itself is faulty, then some wrong impression will be sent to the High Court, and
but you
this may not
also,
be our views.
but I hope that the final report is also, when it is submitted to the court, is also submitted to all the members as well. Like you
No,
should know it's
no, they
okay.
do not. And I give you one example. The Deputy Commissioner Traffic of Calcutta Police, he sent a 5-page report against the tramways. In every paragraph, I responded, we have that document.
Okay.
It was addressed to the Chief Secretary, Transport Department, who himself is another IAS officer.
Okay.
In that report, I submitted a rejoinder that every paragraph there is distortion of fact and misinterpretation of facts, and the information given is wrong.
Okay.
When I submitted my response, I have no idea whether that has been properly put in the proper channel to see to the people. And I wonder how an IAS officer in the rank of Chief Secretary of the Transport Department, he can digest such an bullshit story. It is completely trash report. And at many places, he contradicts by himself. Just like he provides the number of private cars which are within the core area of the city, side by side, number of tram cars which are declining. From that table, you can easily find which is the causative agent of the traffic congestion.
Hmm.
When you are putting enormous number of private cars every day, every year there must be 50,000 or 60,000 new registrations are there. The cars are parked everywhere, violating the traffic rules and regulations. There is no restriction. Even the police then allows cars to enter into the city, and they are blaming the trams or even any type of public transport system as they are causing the congestion. This is ridiculous.
So I hope that once the report is submitted, the court takes into view, and it actually should call all the members to say that, okay, this is what we have received. And
We hope so because of the Lok Sabha election. Now the PILs, they are now temporarily suspended, and court orders are still pending.
all right. I also wanted to ask you, maybe if you could share some anecdote or story which could reflect maybe either a small win or a victory in terms of, say, I think this PIL itself is quite a big, uh, I think, ruling in the favor of the trams. But through some of these activities that you have been doing, if there was some time, maybe, say, a user group that came and said that, okay, this is how our perception has changed, or something which shows the idea that, okay, this is something that you've always wanted through your work and it has worked, even if it is in a small direction, some sort of a small win or a success.
Uh, our success story is very limited. What you can see in the city, not in the background, but in the real life, our success story is very limited, but still we have a few. For example, in the last 20 years, there was no recruitment in the tramways.
Okay.
So naturally, the people are getting aged and they are retiring, and there was no replacement.
Okay.
So there was running working trams, there was no tram drivers.
Okay.
Recently, some 30 people has been recruited
Okay.
as tram drivers, and for 30 people, usually one third of the number, those that can be earmarked for running of the tram cars. Meaning, 30 people they can run 10 trams because there are two shifts
Hmm.
in the day, morning and evening, and because of the holidays and other leaves, etc. Usually one third is the number of the people who are running the trams. And earlier, route number 5, which runs in the College Street area, very, very popular. And there is the tram is the only mode of transport Otherwise, there is a one-way connection. Tram is two-way, but the traffic is one-way. Then the route was closed for construction of metro railways at some place underground because they are constructing the tunnel, and if there is vibration over it, then for that reason the tram service was stopped. When the tram service was stopped and the tunnel was constructed, construction was complete. There was no effort for rerunning of the same tram cars. So it is our pressure, we pressurize most probably before the day of 150th anniversary, that route was reopened. Now there are in the now you are aware that Metro Railway has connected Howrah Station with Calcutta under the Hooghly River. That area Metro Railway construction is over, trains are running, but in the Dalhousie Bibidibag area, Central Business District area, where tram service was suspended for this construction of metro railways, there is no attempt for reline of the tram tracks. Tram track tenders were floated for installation of the tram tracks, poles, etc., everything. But there is no effort for actual augmentation of the job. The authority says that police do not give us permission for running the tram cars in that area unless police gives us permission. Why we should invest some 6 crores or so for line of the tram cars? So you see that you cannot blame the WBTC, the transport department. They blame the police. Police do not respond. So it is a kind of when I cannot maintain or argue, then you are coming to save my face. It is like that. There is no rationality, no reasoning for that. It is just the muscle power.
So these do sound, as you said, small, but they are very significant wins. And building on that, I would want to ask you that if this is something that has happened in that direction, what would be your hope for your city? Maybe a ideal scenario, a broad vision that the Kolkata with its trams, how would you envision the future for trams in
Okay.
Kolkata?
If you review the situation of tramways worldwide, that in 40s, 50s, and 60s, in many cities, tramways were removed. And exactly in those cities, many in Europe and Americas, etc., they are forced to reintroduce the tramways for many reasons. Primarily, this is most economic.
Yes.
So, in Calcutta, in future, it is a bare necessity to reinstall the tramways. The problem is, if the system is now dismantled and the depots are sold to real estate promoters, in future, when there is a honest government or your governance is good, then there will be no space to create a tram depot. In Bangalore, there is instance that a bus depot, they erected the pillars, and there was maybe 40 feet or so open space for running of the buses. Above in the airspace, above 40 feet, they have raised probably a 10-story building. So the basement is free for movement of the buses, and the money they earn from rent from the multi-story building, this is given to the transport department for operation of the buses. This is a permanent income scheme. In Calcutta, when you are removing the land itself at a definitely at a lower cost, then you are getting some money, and there is no permanent solution for economical crisis of the tramways. And it is possible that the amount which has been received by the government may be one third or one fourth of the market rate because there is no verification.
So,
Even the money is received that has been spent on paying the VRS or other loan repayment of the loans, etc., which has no relation for the development of the towns. So everything is full of corruption and dishonesty.
it's like
Once
killing.
these people and the attitude is not removed, it is very difficult to do anything in favor of the towns.
It's like the killing of the golden goose, proverbial, where land is the goose. Uh, so
Yes.
one, one or two last questions. what would be your message to others within your city or outside Calcutta who are trying to do
Hmm.
something similar? Because of course you said that it is a battle against you have a public support, but those who have the uh, political muscle or who have the decision making capability at their side, they are not always very responsive, and there is a scenario of limited victories. So in such a
Hmm.
scenario, how does one stay hopeful and how do they continue to fight for this cause? So a message for people who are in such a situation.
View this, there are two aspects. One is which is dependent on facts and figures.
Mm.
We can talk in the court area and different in different to the people where we can argue.
Yes.
And the second one is like the street corner meeting or demonstration.
Mm.
We want more and more people to participate. When 50 people are there, in the environmental causes, you never get many people. There are only a few and some handful of people. When we held a demonstration with 50 people, if this is compared to 500 people, then the impact is more. So I appeal to our citizens that when we invite them for any demonstration or street corner meeting or any purpose, we invite them to join us. Simply their physical presence is a good venture for us. We do not need money or any other kind of support like that. Only their physical presence, we ask them to join with us. That is enough.
So I think people on the streets has always been a very strong force to reckon with.
Yes.
And I hope that more and more people join in this very worthy cause. And we wish you the very best with the
Thank you very much.
amazing endeavor that you are pursuing. And
Now, nowadays, we find that there are many agencies like school bodies
yes.
or the people from handicapped society
Mm.
or from aged society or business people. They are hiring the trams. They want the tram rides, maybe for a enjoyment or for business purpose. But whatever is there, common people, passengers are not there, but other kinds of society who are hiring trams, they are painting the trams. They
Mm.
want to spread the message using the tram throughout the city. This trend has now been increased, definitely. Compared to the last 10 years, there is an increasing trend. So people are much more aware.
Mm.
And nowadays, people do not say anything bad words about the tram cars that we heard some few years back. So awareness is definitely more.
Yes, definitely a big win because I think when people start talking about something in a mainstream way, when it becomes part of popular culture,
Something positive. Yes. Hmm.
that definitely is changing the tide of perception. And I think that
Yes.
itself is a big win. So that I'm glad that you shared that. And I also wanted to ask you. You mentioned the fact that when you talk to some of these senior bureaucrats, they mention that you are a minority, and
Yes.
politicians have a popular support. But I don't know if you have an answer to that right now. But if we were to think like in situations like these where there is definitely a lot of public support or there is a perceptive support on something which is which otherwise seems like that there are enough people who are opposing trams for say because of its congestion or because it's obsolete and stuff like that. Are there ways in which one could show? Because
Hmm.
politicians will say that okay, we got the votes and we have that number behind us. How does one who doesn't have a political office, but who is working completely from the pure passion and the sheer will of showing that something is worthy of being on the road. How do you say contend if they are willing to listen that we have also the numbers that can show that there is enough support for trams as well. So I'm just giving an example of trams because that's what we're talking about. But a lot of times this votes and political power based on votes is used as a trump card to say that okay, there's not enough public support. But how does one show that okay, there is enough public support? Because sometimes it's difficult to show it in form of say physical meetings or
Yes.
say, Instagram viewership. So I
Hmm.
don't have an answer to that, but that's a question that came to mind when you said.
Yes. These are the indications. that we have a public support, but the younger people who are chasing after a motorbike
Mm.
or a car, people are now uh, they are hankering for the cars, and your status in the society, it is it depends on the model of the car you are using. The bigger the car, you are more socially accepted.
Mm.
So these ideas are trash ideas. It should not be there. But because of the advertisement in the newspapers or cinema or in the televisions, and the craze of the younger people towards the private ownership or bicycle two wheelers, this is a very dangerous trend. There are innumerable accidents in Calcutta and everywhere for
True.
the bikers, and deaths are countless. So I believe that someday people will realize that what is the benefit
Mm.
for their own, or they are giving benefits to the automobile lobbies or the businessmen like that.
No, thanks. I think that's a very pertinent point, and I hope that maybe this is also a part of your activities where you are trying to make the younger generation aware about the benefits of public
Yes,
transport.
we do.
So, anything else that you wanted to share, sir? Because it has been a very light, enlightening and insightful discussion on an aspect which we've heard about, but which, like, just preparing for this conversation made me so much informed about this wonderful mode of transport. And I was reading about how some of the technologies have evolved in, say, Lisbon and Australia and multiple European countries, and that all these trams are locally manufactured in India. Such a unique piece of mode of transport that is, I think, the whole technology is probably based in India. Everything is procured and manufactured in Kolkata itself, right?
Yes.
And I did not know this
Now,
before.
in the conclusion, I may say that trams do not run very fast. Agreed. And they penetrate all the lanes and bylanes of the city. So if you have time and you ride a tram car in the same route repeatedly or in different routes, you have a feelings of the society itself. Using a car or Ola Uber taxi, you cannot. When you have your fellow citizens who are your co-passengers sitting next to you, their conversations, their happiness, unhappiness, everything, then you will feel that you are a part of the city itself. My neighbors are not limited to my locality, they are spread all over the city. I had that feeling from my school days when I bunked schools and traveled all over the city by trams and buses. Maybe I still carry that feelings that I feel much more comfortable with my own relatives in a public transport rather than using a taxi. I feel very selfish when I use a car
Yes, I do.
or a taxi. I do not own a car,
Yes.
but I have no problem. I have enough mobility to travel everywhere. I travel all over India, um, and I believe that if I had a car, my mobility will be restricted because I have to think about parking, the cost of petrol, who will drive the car, the anxiety related with the accidents, etc. Since I do not have a car, I am completely free person. I pay the fare and I reach my destination safe.
But that's such a beautiful, I think, description of what trams can be in a person's life.
Yes,
I think thanks for sharing that memory of yours. And you actually painted a picture of being at the level of all the people that you travel with. And that's such a beautiful feeling that any mode of transport can give. And by that virtue itself, it's such a important mode that needs to be conserved. So again, I wish you luck, and I hope that things take a positive course for the trams and the court sees value and things turn out positively for the trams of Kolkata. And thanks again for taking out time for us and giving us this our
okay.
sharing about the
Thank
work
you
that
very much for
we'll
all
definitely
your good wishes, and your greetings and everything. We value your comments very
yes.
much highly.